Hello everyone, and today I will teach you all on how to bake ambient occlusion from a high poly model to a low poly model. In this video I will show on how we can bake ambient occlusion inside of Blender, how to use and adjust it to your likings, and in the end I will also highlight some problems and how we can minimize and or maybe even fix them. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all I will show you all on how to do it inside of Blender. So this right here is my low poly model. It just has normals. As you can see, this is a low poly model. And make sure it is also UV unwrapped. Okay, and this is my high poly model. And this right here is my cage. Make sure your cage encloses both your high poly model and your low poly model. Now you can also use an automatic cage, but I will prefer a manual one. It gives much better results. Okay, so to bake normals, first of all we need an image to store our bake. So I will click my low poly model, and in the shader editor, what I will do is that I will shift A and bring in an image texture. Then I will click on new and give it a name. Then I will also set the size, but I think this one is fine. But you can increase it for much better result. Then I will click new image, and for ambient occlusion, make sure to change this to non-color. Okay. Now since that is done, now it is time for baking. So to bake, I will go to the render tab, change the render engine from Eve to cycles, and in the and make sure to change the max samples to something lower, since we are baking, we are not rendering, or else it will take a lot of time to bake. Okay, then I will scroll down and go to bake and change the bake type to ambient occlusion, and click on select it to active, and then click here and click on cage. Okay, now to use a manual cage, I will just simply click on this eyedropper and select the cage that I had created. Okay, now I will just click on my high poly, and by holding left control I will select my low poly. So now the high poly is the selected object and the low poly is the active object, and the baker will transfer the details from the selected one, which is the high poly, to the active one, which is the low poly. Make sure this is selected, since this is where we want the bake to be stored. And now just click on bake. Okay, so the baking is now complete. And now to use ambient occlusion in Blender, what we do is that we combine it with our base color. So let's just say that this right here is my base color. This is my base color. So now to combine these two, we can use a mix color node. Change this from mix to multiply, and plug the base color to the top one and the ambient occlusion to the bottom one. Now just plug the result to the base color. I will just increase the factor so it is far more noticeable. Okay, so um, this is now this is fine, but if you want these shadows to be even more noticeable, you can use something known as a color ramp node and place it right here. Okay, now I will just move this slider from left to right, and you will notice that these shadows become more noticeable. Okay, now one more thing. When using a color ramp, the insides of your model will become dark if you increase it too much. This can be very useful if you want to make, for example, like if your mesh has holes in it and you want to make the insides completely dark. You can do this, but if you don't want this effect, you can just simply decrease the factor to something like 0.9. Okay, this looks better. Now your details will be more noticed, and your insides will not be too much dark or completely dark. Okay, and it is much better to use ambient occlusion alongside normals. It makes the result much more better. Okay, so that's how we can use ambient occlusion inside of Blender. Okay, so whenever you're using Blender for baking ambient occlusion, you will notice that your bake is somewhat green. Let me show. It is visible here. You can see that it is greeny. Now to minimize this issue, you can just simply increase the image size, or you can just export the bake into another software such as Photoshop. Let me show. Yes. You can also just export this map, this ambient occlusion map, by saving it as a PNG and opening it inside of another software such as Photoshop or GIMP, where you can just apply a filter to it. I think it is called Gaussian blur. You can use that, and hopefully it will fix that problem. So these are two ways to fix this grain effect. Okay, and do you see this? Now this isn't a problem, but just in case, if you want a clean bake, you can just reduce this margin size. Since we are baking in 1K, change this to 8. But if you're baking in high resolution, 16 is all right. So I guess that's it. That's how we bake and use ambient occlusion in Blender. In next video I will show on how to do it inside of XNormals, which is another application or a software um, which gives a much better results and is much faster than the Blender's Baker. But you can use Blender's Baker. It gives nice results as well. And from a distance, it is not much noticeable. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the way I teach, you can also check my profile in the description for registration or for a free demo. And that will be all. So have a great day.